Hi there, welcome to this demo of Pearson's GCSE MFL revision resources. My name's Jo and I'm a product manager here at Pearson looking after our revision. So you'll know that both the Pearson EdXL and the AQA, the new GCSEs, have two key underlying principles. Firstly, there's a focus on the practical element of effective communication of meaning. And secondly, there's a real importance placed on the accessibility for all students, regardless of background or ability. So when you buy revision from Pearson, you'll get both of these two key principles absolutely baked in. And that's because this is revision from Pearson, from the exam experts. And those two principles run as a consistent thread through our qualification, through our textbooks, and our revision too. Pearson's revision also comes jam-packed with digital content and tools. And I think this is the element that I'm most excited about because not only does digital support motivation, engagement, and accessibility for many different learning styles, but like never before, digital can support all of the four key skills of language learning. So not just listening with those good old audio tracks you'll be familiar with. And I'm going to demo exactly how we do that shortly. So everything I'm going to demo today is available to you as a teacher absolutely free of charge. So you can use the platform in your revision lessons in class, or you can use it to evaluate if you're thinking of buying access for your students. And not only does it include the MFL resources, but it also includes all core GCSE subjects too. So it's a great offer. And if you're interested in this free access, please go to our Pearson Schools and FE Colleges website or speak to your local representative. So just as a high-level overview of the four key areas where Pearson's revision resources for MFL really excel, we use real-life relatable context and examples throughout to make content engaging and meaningful. We have comprehensive coverage of the new specifications. So that's all of the vocab, all of the grammar for both tiers. We exemplify all of the new assessments, particularly that tricky new speaking and listening, so read aloud and dictation. And we provide plenty of practice that's all baked in of the new key skills required to ensure that students are engaged and to build student motivation. And just to reiterate how seamlessly our expertise, our exam expertise in print and our expertise in digital are coming together to provide that truly blended experience to offer real engagement for students and effective skills practice across all the four areas of language learning. So when students get their hands on a printed revision guide, on the inside front cover there'll be a scratch-off panel and an access code with clear instructions on how to use that code to gain access to all the digital elements that come with the printed revision guide. And you can see on the screen here all of the different digital that we have available with a typical revision guide. I just wanted to draw your attention particularly to our new exam practice assistant tool, because I'm really excited about how this gives real-time personalised feedback on students' written responses. Now it's supported with the AI, so it's a beta, and it currently just supports the foundation writing picture description task. And it's at the moment all included with access you get from the revision guide. That may change in future, but I really entreat you to have a look at it, have a play with it, because it's a really fantastic personalised AI feedback, which gives students real insight onto where they can improve their own responses. So let's jump straight into looking at the printed book first of all. So you can see from the contents page here that we cover all the thematic contexts broken down into really helpful chunks. At the top right, you can see that we look at the exam in detail, so explaining exactly what they'll encounter and how to answer the different question types. And then we also cover all of the required grammar in great depth. At the end, you can see that we've got a full list of all the vocabulary that I need. And then finally, we have a comprehensive set of answers to all of the questions, the practice questions that they're given in the book. So moving on to look at one of the pages in the book itself. As I mentioned, we cover all of the vocab that students require, but you can see on each page in this page is about friendship that we cover selected vocabulary that's relevant to that particular topic. So they're learning words in context. You can see that the words that are specific for higher tier only are highlighted in purple, so students are only ever learning what they absolutely need to know for their relevant tier. And then on the right-hand side, we also have the grammar in context. So you can see that we have short reminders of what the particular grammar feature involves, and we also have a full grammar section at the end for further support if they need it. So further down, we've got a flexible phrases section. So this helps students to consolidate their understanding of the language in small sections. So phrases that they might use in a variety of different contexts, and we find that that helps to build student confidence in both speaking and writing. And then crucially on the left here, we have our worked example feature. So this gives exam style questions plus model answers. So we're modelling what good looks like across all 4 key skills. So this particular one focuses on a reading question, but we do have them for all 4 key skills, including the new dictation and read aloud tasks. And these allow students to become fully confident with the new assessment requirements. Now Try This, further down the page, is a feature that we've created to ensure that students have loads of different question practice. So these again are all exam style and cover all 4 key skills. And all answers, as I said, are provided at the back of the book. Some questions are more focused towards higher tier grades and others are more foundation, while others cover both tiers in that overlap area. You can see you've got a target grade icon next to exam style questions that tells students how difficult the question is. And that helps students to stay motivated and understand how they're progressing. Now, you will have noticed there are a few QR codes in the book which students can scan. And once they scan these with their phone, it gives them instant access to a digital resource. And in this case, because it's a listening question, they can listen to the audio track here on page 3. Here on page 24, they're asked to complete a speaking activity. So you can see that there's also a QR code, and this gives them access to an example speaking response that they might come up with. And you can see it's also written down for them in response to the speaking task. So it just really helps them understand what good looks like. And then in order to access all of the other digital tools available for the topic of pros and cons of technology, students would go to this QR code at the top left of the page, and this appears on every single page, and that will take them directly to the relevant section of our online platform where all those digital resources are hosted. So I'll demo that now. Now, here we are on the area of the platform that focuses on pros and cons of technology. Students will get here once they scan the QR code on the relevant page of the revision guide, as long as they've redeemed their access code once and once only that we talked about in the print earlier on. Now, on this page of this area of the online platform, they will always get a digital version of the page that we looked at from the revision guide, so that they can look at that content or that revision content whenever, wherever online. And then we've also got here the speaking tracks that we saw earlier on that page. Again, they can access them here. They're the same tracks as they might have accessed using the QR codes. And then I'm going to look at the other digital resources available in a slightly different order. So down here, you can see that we've got a quick test. And these are quick tests of the content that was covered on the page, just to help them consolidate their understanding, plus practice the skills required. So if I open up the quick test, you can see that there are multiple choice questions, and they've got a number of different types. So this one is particularly an audio, so they can play the audio. You won't be able to hear it in the recording. And then based on the recording, they can choose a response. Submit the answer. If you get it wrong, you are told which is the correct answer for future reference. You can see this is a bit more of a reading question. And then another listening. And then they get told their results at the end. So that's on every single page. So it's a really nice way just to consolidate that understanding. Then on this page as well, we have a video. And now we've got 10 videos across a typical course. And we've created these in collaboration with experienced teachers and examiners. They are actual videos, so none of this audio with a transcript on screen, kind of posing as a video. These are actually in-depth videos which cover particular areas of grammar that we know students find tricky, and particular areas of the new assessment which might be more challenging and are certainly new to those teaching the GCSEs. And I will give you a quick demo of that now. Here we are in the video. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear the audio because there's recording, but I just wanted to show you how we ensure that the videos remain engaging and really clear. So we're breaking down the process of how to create the past tense or the perfect tense with the past participle, step by step across different verb types. So coming back to the home screen for this area, we are really conscious of how vocab is very important. And so we have created two different tools to support vocab. So firstly, there's a vocab quiz. So a little bit like the kind of topic or knowledge quiz, this takes students through every single word that they will need to know. They can press play, they choose the tier that they would want to study, and they can choose the number of words they want to test themselves on. So whenever they use target language word, they can hear the word being spoken by a native language speaker, which helps with that sound symbol correspondence. And then they can choose the translation that they believe is the correct one. Again, they get the right answer if they get it wrong. And it goes from both target language to English and English to target language. These ones need to be the first. Here we go. Here's an English one to target language as well. And for each of the target languages, again, you've got the audio. And again, they get told at the end which ones they got right and which ones they got wrong, and that progress is tracked for them throughout the platform. And then back to the homepage, we've also got our vocab flashcards. Now, these are flashcards which can be written by the student themselves, so they don't need to limit themselves to vocabulary. You can see here that they can write their own questions, they can write their own answers to those flashcards that they see when they turn them over virtually. And there's tips down the bottom here for how to write really strong flashcards. If they want Pearson to fill them out for them, we've got a pre-created set of vocab flashcards, and we can press import flashcards. It will take a second, and then it will show us that deck. So you can see every single word here is covered, and it covered in context of a sentence. So you can see that the gender is specified of the noun, the verb is given, and it's all in the context of a sentence. Then when they want to play their flashcards, whether they're Pearson created ones or their own, they click on play flashcards, and the flashcards are shown to them in an order determined by our clever system. So this is based on the Leitner method, which is a spaced revision technique. Where they are shown the cards that they're less confident with more often, and those they're more confident with less often, and they get moved into different piles, and that determines how often they see them when they press play. So they want to see 20 cards, they're going to press play down the bottom here, and you can see that they're given the ones that we've already created with the pre-created flashcards. They click view answer, it flips over them for them to see the answer, and then they click I don't know this or I know this, and that is what determines how frequently they'll see it when they next come to play their flashcards. We do encourage them to play them as much as possible. It's kind of set up that way. If they were to review them on a daily basis, the system will cleverly pick up on that and make sure that they're seeing them only as often as they need to, or more often if they're really not feeling confident. And then finally, just to see, you can edit those flashcards themselves. Once they're created, students can always edit the Pearson pre-created flashcards themselves. So last but not least, I wanted to demo our exam practice assistant, which is an AI-driven tool, a beta, which gives students personalised feedback on their own responses. So first of all, I click to say I understand AI can make mistakes. And then I have got 3 options for different types of feedback. So direct, if I want my feedback to be concise. Encouraging, if I want my feedback to be more supportive and highly positive. And then accelerate, if I want an extra challenge. So I'm going to go for encouraging. So just as a reminder, this tool supports the picture description task in the foundation writing paper. And the task requires students to write 4 simple sentences to describe the photo, and they're awarded marks for relevancy and clarity of communication. We've tried to replicate that experience as much as possible, not only in the 36 questions, example questions that we provide, they're worded exactly as they will encounter in the exam, but we also provided feedback against both of those types of assessment, so clarity of communication and relevancy. We provide various levels of support for students when they're writing their responses. So you can see down here that we've got a sentence builder, which gives them sentence starters, verbs, and nouns that they might want to use. Now I'm going to input 4 kind of medium level sentences to give you a sense of how this tool works and the type of feedback a student might get. So they're not going to be perfect sentences, just to show you how that feedback is shown to them. So you can see that there's also a functionality on the bottom right here, little clock sign. So that allows students to time themselves if they wish. So they get about 12 minutes in the exam to answer this question based on the number of marks and the length of time of the paper. So you can see here that they can turn it on or turn it off and press stop and start. That's a completely optional tool. So I'm going to press submit answer now. Oh, and just to iterate that they've got all of the special characters that they could want or need when inputting their answer available here. So I'll press submit answer now. So it does take about a minute to process what they've written, and while they're waiting, they get a mindfulness message from a bank of suggestions. They might be thinking about posture or encouraging them to take some deep breaths. Now here we are on the feedback screen. All feedback will be associated with one of 3 scores, which is either great, good, or needs work. First of all, there's some summary feedback on the right-hand side, which always states what I've done well, even if I've struggled. I then get feedback on each of the sentences I've written, and each of those have a score as well. And each of the sentences is written with a corrected sentence that tries to stay as close as possible to what the student originally wrote. And then bold is used to show them where the sentence has been corrected. So you can see in this first one that the first sentence is strong because the only thing they have missed out is the acute accent. In the second sentence, sentence B, it's classed as good because they've not quite got the ilia quite right, and there's a lack of article in front of the noun and me. So all the sentences get feedback of this sort. You can see sentence C and sentence D are also shown. And then right at the very end, they get a corrected version of each of those 4 sentences added to a flashcard so they can review them in future alongside any of the other flashcards they may already have written themselves or chosen to pre-create with the pre-created Pearson vocab flashcards. So that's the end of our demo. If you've got any questions or anything else strikes you and you'd like to share, please do get in contact with me. My email's on the screen, joeakid@pearson.com. And thanks very much for watching.